Hello and welcome to Evolving on Purpose, a show I have created in hopes that I can inspire you to take the deep dive into discovering who you are and what you came here to do. Each week, I will have on individuals to share their unique journey to self-discovery and where their purpose is taking them. I will also do solo episodes to share what I am currently learning, practicing, or even just contemplating. So come on, what are you waiting for? Join me in Evolving on Purpose. I really wanted to jump in with the first episode that I recorded with Leanne just to give you a taste of what it was going to look like. And now I'm going to take a little bit of time just to kind of go backwards a little. What is human design? Why am I bringing it up in these episodes? Why will I drop it into the different things? Kind of what human design did for my life. These are some of the things we're going to look at. So first, what is human design? Human design is a way of kind of profiling. You have the Enneagram, you have astrology, you have all these different ways to kind of see who you are and how you interact in life. Astrology gives you a really beautiful way to look at it, but it doesn't always give you the how-to. And I really wanted a how-to. How do I get to live my purpose? How do I get to these places? And I really couldn't figure it out getting astrology readings, learning astrology. I did the Enneagram and I couldn't figure out, am I really a 7? I'm not sure. Sometimes I feel like a 7, sometimes a 6, sometimes I'm all over the place. So I couldn't, it's like work me was this and home me was this and my best self or my old self, or the questions were just really hard for me. So when I found human design, and it was the same kind of system as astrology, you put your birth date in, your birth date, your birth time, location, and it pulls it up. There was just something that called that this is going to be really important. And so I just slowly kept coming back to it. So in human design, we take the astrology date, the date you're born. We also take the what they call design date, which is 88 days before your birth. Your subconscious and body consciousness is designed. You combine that in a chart that puts in position the different gates, which are from the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching. You have the Kabbalah, Tree of Life channels. You can see in the body graph that it correlates to the chakra system. And then you just get this really beautiful body graph that shows us where is it in the body? How is my circuits talking to each other? It looks like a circuit board to me. And so I can see the circuitry. I can see how it works, what the different voices. I can almost literally hear how you're thinking about something just by looking at your circuitry. And so when we can get really clear on how we're thinking, are we in kind of the shadow of that, or are we in the highest expression of that? How do we get there? And it just gives us this map, this toolkit that we can say, okay, this is how I get into alignment. This is how I hear my inner voice. This is how I show up in a way that supports me, not how I've heard, Tony Robbins or this person shows up, but how do I show up that supports me specifically as the individual? And that's what I really love about human design. And it's individually to just you. Even if you're a twin, for example, that 15 or 20 minute difference could give you a different perspective on life. We can see that in the chart. And so it's just really beautiful to understand yourself, understand kind of what you came here to do. The mapping shows us what is the energy that I came here to do? What am I trying to do in this life? And how do I get there? And so I really love it's a more yang masculine system. Do this, 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 and this. Do I combine it with other systems? Yes, I combine it with gene keys and astrology, which are a lot more contemplative, a lot more feminine. And when we combine all of these systems, we can really get clear about what we came here, how to be our best selves, how to get into an alignment so that we really can fulfill our purpose and live a more fulfilling life. Because when you understand yourself and you can show up in a way that is really truly authentic to you, it feels so good. And not that there aren't highs and lows. I'm an emotional being. I have highs and lows no matter what. So instead of attaching to that, I can just understand myself better, understand the patterns, understand that I have highs and lows, and it's just giving me more information about what I really want. I'm an emotional being. How I feel about things is important information. It's not everything. I don't feel terrible and think that my life is terrible. I just know that I get all of the highs, all of the everything is great, and all of the lows, and then when I come back to kind of a calm, I can make a decision from the full picture, the full spectrum. So this brings us to, why would somebody want to learn their human design? And I think this is a really good point, because not everybody needs human design, but I wish everybody had it, because it does. It clarifies so much who you are, what you came here to do, what's your map. Are you an emotional? Do you have these highs and lows? Or are you open emotionally and the people around you are putting off their emotions and it's hitting you? That way we know that we're not here to attach to those emotions. When you're open emotionally, you still have lots of different emotions. You just don't have a consistent pattern. An emotional being has a consistent pattern, highs and lows that they're always going to see. When you're open emotionally, you're more being driven by things that happen or the emotions of the people around you. And so when you understand that, you have more understanding of why you are the way you are. We can look at it from all the different centers. And this is where I want to talk about comparison. Theodore Roosevelt said comparison is the thief of joy. And I really believe that. I remember I was in the military. My best friend, she had just turned 27, right? 27. And she was crying in the bathroom, talking about how she thought she would have done so much more. She would have traveled more. She would have done this and done this and done this. It's like she was 27 years old. She had already completed so much in her life. And that's just not how life works for everybody. Some people come with a very specific, this is what I'm going to do, and they're driven by that, right? My oldest son, he has the cross of penetration. He has this consistent growth towards something. Whatever he does, he's going to put his whole being into it, and he's going to go for it. My other son, he's a manifesting generator with lots of different interests, and he's probably not going to do that. He's probably going to have to try things out over and over and over again and decide what he wants. And that's okay. That's what his soul wanted when he chose this design. And so when we look at our design, we can see a little bit more about what we really wanted in this life, and stop comparing our life to others. Stop thinking that we need to have this, this, and this. Today's world, there's Instagram and Facebook and all the things, and we see these reels and we think, oh, I want this or I want that, or why don't I have this? Oh, they're so successful at this age, or this, they have this, this, and this. And that is literally just stealing your joy. And so when we understand ourselves better and we relax into, human design shows us over and over and over again that we have all of this in our chart that gives us consistent energy towards certain things. And what we don't have consistent energy to, we're just surrendering to the right timing, the right time, the right person, place, or thing will trigger us into the next step, the next growth, And so I think back to when I had learned my human design, and it took me a long time to get it, right? Like, I am really trying to figure out how to help people understand their design quickly and really dive deep and make the changes, make the growth, get where they want to get. But I don't know if I would have had what I'm creating now 6 years ago when I first heard about human design. I don't know that I would have leapt and been so much further along in life, because I don't know that that's how life works. But I know that I would have had a lot easier my journey would have been easier, because I wouldn't have been so worried about why I'm not here, why I'm not there, why is it so hard for me, why can't I do this, why are my emotions here and I throw everything away, why do I have all these ideas that I never start. These are things that I deeply understand in my design now, and I don't make a big deal out of it. I know this is just my design showing me, but the right things that when I respond in the correct way, that's when the time is right. When my body says, yes, this is a response, this is where I'm going, then I have the energy for it. Then it's the right path to go down. And when I was doing it from the mind, I was just really setting myself up to be very unhappy. I was always looking at the wrong things. And that's another point, is what you set your focus on, whatever you're focusing on the most is how you're going to feel and show up in your life. So when I was focusing on having debt or focusing on my health being bad, that's all my life was. Another day, I've got to figure this out. I've got to fix myself. I've got to get out of debt. I've got to do this. And it was not a fun place to be. It was very uncomfortable. And now I know that I'm always being led. I know that everything I want is always being set up, and kind of the universe is conspiring for me to succeed in what I want. And so I can kind of sit back and relax into it. And that doesn't mean I don't still make sure that I'm eating the correct foods. I just don't focus on it so much. I focus a day or two. What am I going to eat this week? What are my goals? And then I let it go. And I don't worry about it all day long, every day. Same with, paying the bills or this or that. I set aside time to think, to strategize, and then I leave it alone. Because me just sitting there constantly looking back and focusing on what went wrong, what isn't working, why do I feel this way, it just makes my experience uncomfortable, not fun, and really I just want to enjoy my life. Do I have goals and things that I'm looking forward to? Yes, I'm a non-specific manifestor. We can talk about that in different episodes, but you can see whether you're specific or non-specific. You're specific, you just write down your goals a little bit more specifically. You're non-specific, like me. It's more, how do I want to feel in my day? How do I want to feel in my life? And that's all I focus on. What can I bring in at this moment to feel good? I make myself my cup of coffee and I start my day in a certain way because I enjoy it. It brings me joy. I have outer vision. I really like my food to look beautiful. So I plate it in a way that looks beautiful. And that's for me, to bring joy to me. And when we look at our human design, we can see this is how I am, and this is how I can bring more joy into my life. This is how I can release this just a little bit more. Some people have very defined heads, and they can get into this, this confusion or this doubt. And instead we can see, no, this is the gift of this, the way that your mind works. Let's look at it from this angle. Let's not fixate. and giving you the tools to do that. And so that's just a little bit about what human design is and why I love human design. So if you want to know more, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I post things that I feel are beneficial to really understanding your design. I also do readings, so you can always book a reading, a personal reading, a family reading. I do some coaching too. It just depends on what level you want to know. Are you just curious? You want to start to understand your design? Book a personal reading and we'll dive in and you can decide how deep you want to go. I'll get you the most important thing that I see in your chart and how your energy works. So you can always come to my website, book a reading, just follow me as I kind of break this down. I'm going to continue the episodes that give more information and clarity through story. Story is a really important component to this, and that's why in my episodes I tell you what their type, profile, emotional or what their authority is. And that way you can look at your chart and tie these things in and see, is there a story here that makes me understand it better? Can I relate to this in a way? Because now when I listen to different podcasts, I'm always like, oh, this is cool, but does this apply to me? Do they have the same design as me? Do they have any of the same channels that give them consistent energy the same way I have consistent energy? And if not, it's a cool story. It shows us how different we are, but I shouldn't be attaching to the way that they live their life, which we never should. We should never attach to it. If it inspires you, maybe it's something that's meant for you. If it makes you feel bad, then maybe you just don't have that in your chart and you shouldn't worry about it, right? Let's not compare ourselves anymore. So that's the homework today. Let's stop the comparison. We are all so different. We are all designed so different. So let's figure out who you are, what you came here to do. And yeah, as always, let's keep evolving on purpose.